the most venerable Panyavaru, Hamuduru from Australia, friends in the Dhamma. Today is a beautiful morning. Each and every one of you looks so serene and pleasant. It's because of your pleasant thoughts in your mind, because we just cultivated metta. Thoughts are more powerful than you assume, because thoughts create our own world. Buddha says, Chittena niyati loko. The world is led by the thoughts. Our world is created by ourselves, through our own thoughts. Each and every moment we live, we create this world through our thoughts, together with feelings, perceptions, consciousness comes mental formations. Whenever your eye come across outside world, light, color, shape, size, this is the world of colors. When your ear come across outside sound, we create the world of sounds. Through our nose, we create the world of smell. Through the tongue, the world of taste. And the body creates the world of touch sensations. So every single moment we are living, through our eye, ear, nose, tongue, and the body, we create this world of light, sound, smell, taste, and touch. Every moment, this is going through in our mind. This is happening to us. We are creating the thoughts. Mental fabrication, mental formation, imagination, hallucinations, all these are created by our own mind, through our own thoughts. We are the creators of our own world. Each and every one of us, we live in a created world, created by ourselves. This is the meaning of the famous saying of the Buddha in Rohitassa Sutta. The Buddha says, Imasmin yeva vyamamate kalebare sasamhi samanake lokancha panyapemi loka samudayancha loka nirodhancha loka nirodhagamini patipadancha. In this fathom long body, with its perceptions and thoughts, I proclaim the world, its origin, its cessation, path leading to its cessation. So friends, world is created every single moment. Whenever we come across outside world, through our five sense faculties, in our mind, through our feelings, perceptions, mental formation, and consciousness, we create the world. So here, mental formation is nothing but our own thoughts. Let us spend some time to understand how we create our thoughts and our world. Suppose, friends, for the first time in life you come across an apple. Or let's say a child come across an apple for the first time in his life. He has not seen an apple and he doesn't know what it is. Through his eyes, he will look at it, understand its shape, its size, its color. He will touch it and understand whether it is hard or soft. He will smell it, he will bite it, taste it, then create the idea in his mind, apple. This thing, this fruit, which is labeled as apple, has got these sight, sound, smell, taste and touch. And he creates his mind the thought of apple. There are such created thoughts, conditioned thoughts in our mind. Billions and billions of them are stored in our mind. So whenever we react to the world, we react through these created thoughts, created concepts, created mental formations. And we use them again and again and again. So whenever we come across the outside world, in fact, we deal with outside world with such created thoughts in our mind. When a couple fall in love with each other, a man and a woman fall in love with each other, they create in their own world through thoughts, feelings, perceptions. And they fall in love with that world they create. And then with that imagination, with that hallucination or whatever in his mind or her mind, suppose they proceed with marriage and got married. After some time, perhaps they might understand, actually, they have married the wrong person. Because at first beginning, they have created a kind of world in their mind related to another person. And after some time, that person will understand what he created in his mind is, in fact, illusion. Suppose, friends, for the first time we are trying to be friendly with a stranger. You are trying to make a friend. What do you do usually? You will come to know this person more. You will talk to this person, come to know his family background, his career, his age, his education, religion, social background. So you will discuss with this person. You will talk to this person. And then through talking to this person, you create some ideas, some thoughts in your mind and build up the friendship with this person. And that is how we become friends. That's why when we become friends at very beginning, and we talk a lot about each other's background, that is to create necessary software, necessary thoughts that we need to keep this link, keep this friendship. Suppose this friend, after some time, he went to another country to settle down, and you lost the contact. After a few years, and again you met him through the social network, and now he is coming to Singapore to visit you. And you are going to the airport to meet him. When you are going to the airport to meet this person, you are going with the created concepts about this person, which were created few years back. So in your mind, you have got this, how he looked like, what kind of character is he, and his social, economic, religious background. So with these created ideas in your mind, you go and see him. So you are expecting that person who existed few years back. All of a sudden this person appeared, but he has slimmed down. So you update your file. Oh yes, he has slimmed down. When you talk to this person, you come to know he has cut off meat and fish and has become vegetarian. Update your file. Now he is a vegetarian. He used to eat a lot of meat. Then he is not drinking anymore. Update your file. Yes, he's not drinking. Now he has stopped drinking. And furthermore, he has become a Buddhist. So update your file again. Earlier he did not have religion. Now he is a Buddhist. So in this way, friends, you update your files every single moment you come across people, come across outside world. You either create new files in your system or update the systems. In this way, we create our world. So, chittena niyati loko. The world is led by our own thoughts. So, we create this world within us every single moment. And that is how we react to the outside world, with the created thoughts, with created world. What about outside world? Outside world can be divided into two. Naturally created world and human created world. Naturally created world is like earth, water, mountains, trees, plants and animals. And all these are the creations of nature. What about the buildings, cities, vehicles? And these are created by human beings. But these are created at first in the mind of the human being, not outside. For example, this your building was first created in the mind of a human. That human being thought of this building, how to build it and plan for it. And then those thoughts were transformed to become bricks and this material building. This hall that we are sitting, it was first created as thought forms. Somebody decided to keep the Buddhist statue here. Somebody decided to set up office over there and the monk's living room and library. And somebody did it in his mind or in her mind as thought forms. So created the world. What is business? Business is ideas. Businesses are thoughts. If you can sell thoughts, if you can sell ideas, you will be a good salesman. What is politics? All these are thoughts, created concepts. So even outside world created by human beings, a car or a bus or aeroplane or ship or whatever you name it, at the very beginning it was created in human mind. Somebody thought of flying, that's why we are having aeroplane today. Somebody thought of submarine, that is why we are having such kind of vehicles. And somebody thought of bombs, nuclear bombs, weapons. And these are created in human mind first. And later they were materialized. So friends, thoughts are more powerful than we assume because they create our own world. Again, friends, thoughts are more powerful than we assume because they mold our character. Whoever you are today, you are created by your own thoughts. If you do not like your character, nobody is to be blamed but yourself. Because your own thoughts created whoever you are today. So your character is created by yourself. All our words and all our actions are manifestation of our own thoughts. So thoughts are more powerful than we assume. If you were to think in a negative way, destructive way, and unwholesome way, then eventually you will build up a character ethically blameworthy and spiritually harmfully, a kind of wicked person. And that character is created by yourself, nobody else. Buddha says, Attanova katam papang, attana sankilissati, attano akatam papang, attanova visuddhati. Suddhi asuddhi paccatang, nanya manye visodhi. One is defiled by his own thoughts. One is purified by his own thoughts, by himself. No one can purify another. So friends, our character is built by ourselves, created by our own thoughts. Suppose, friends, you hang a picture of a terrorist or criminal in your room. In the morning and evening, you go to this picture and worship and admire this criminal. And whenever he bombs somewhere or kill people, you praise him. What will happen after some time? You will develop criminal tendencies within you. And eventually you will become a criminal character because you worship, you admire, you respect such people. I think many of you have seen 3 monkeys. Especially in temples, those monkeys covering their eyes, covering their ears and mouth. Have you seen these monkeys? What does it mean? Don't see evil, don't hear evil, don't speak evil. Why? Because whenever you see evil things and develop tendency to see the evil things, and you develop evil thoughts in your mind. Today we have social media, and when you go to Facebook, YouTube, you can see all the kinds of things, violent, wicked, immoral activities. So if you are someone who enjoy watching such movies, films, or video clips of killing, torturing, injuring, such kind of, then you will develop such thoughts in your system. And if you were to listen to gossip, criticizing, and evil, wicked, immoral, unwholesome type of speech, words, you will develop such thoughts in your mind. So that is why, especially in Buddhist temples, you can easily see these 3 monkeys to remind you to purify your thoughts, because thoughts create our character. Before we start this talk today, you all came here and paid your homage to the Buddha. And you Buddhists do it every day, in fact. And what did you do? Having paid your homage, highest respect to the Buddha, you recited the virtue of the Buddha. Buddha, you have got these wonderful qualities. Then you recited 9 virtues of the Buddha. Then you recited his teachings, virtue of the teachings. The Buddha's teaching has got 6 virtues. And the Noble Sangha has got 9 virtues. So in this way you recited the virtue of the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. So when you do this simple act of devotional practice, what you are doing? You are creating a wholesome type of software within your system. Wholesome type of thoughts arise in your mind, and eventually these wholesome thoughts will make you to become a wholesome person. So friends, thoughts can create our own character. So watch your thoughts, for they become your words. Watch your words, for they become your actions. Watch your actions, for they become your habits. Watch your habits, for they become your character. And watch your character, for they become your future destiny. So friends, it starts with the thoughts. So that is why in Buddhism we emphasize so much that we must purify our thoughts. We must have pure thoughts in our mind, because they create all our words and actions and build our character. Again, friends, thoughts are more powerful than we assume, because thoughts can bring us to life again once we die. After we die, we will be born again. Why? Because we have thought to exist, will to exist. That willpower is so powerful that it will bring us to life. So Buddhism says, the last thought moment of this life before we die is very, very important. Because what goes from this life to next life is a thought moment. So if the last thought moment is a wholesome one, constructive one, and a positive one, based on that thought, chuti citta, based on that thought, arise patisandhi citta, relinking thoughts somewhere else, in another life. So the last thought of this life is the beginning of next life. So what goes from this life to next life is a thought. So friends, thoughts are more powerful than we assume, because thoughts can build up the life after we die. So even though this body collapses one day to the ground, and the thoughts do not collapse, they will reappear. What we popularly call rebirth. Now, friends, if you look at the Buddhism is, in fact, a path of transformation. It transforms ordinary human beings to become extraordinary, enlightened human beings. If a greedy human being were to practice the Buddha's teaching, eventually he will become a generous human being. If a self-centered, selfish type of human being were to adopt the noble path, eventually he will become selfless human being. If a narrow-minded human being were to follow the noble path, eventually he will become a broader-minded person. If a hateful, cruel person were to practice the path, eventually he will transform himself to become a compassionate human being. If ignorant human being were to practice, he will end up being enlightened. So Buddhism is a path of transformation. But the transformation does not come out of nothing. Transformation comes from our thoughts. Thoughts are the roots of our transformation. That is why in the Noble Eightfold Path, Buddha put right understanding and right thoughts at very beginning. Because right understanding and right thoughts are the foundation for the transformation. So what is right understanding? Right understanding here is understanding of the Four Noble Truths. Suffering, its cause, cessation, and the path to dissociation. Now when you understand the Four Noble Truths, through this understanding arise right thoughts in your mind. Through right understanding arise right thoughts. So Buddha recognized three types of right thoughts. Wholesome thoughts, or constructive type of thoughts. What are these three thoughts? Thoughts of generosity, thoughts of goodwill, and thoughts of compassion. So these are the right thoughts. So if you were to develop your character based on generosity, goodwill, and compassion, and eventually you will become an enlightened person when you follow the noble path. Now let's understand the link between right understanding and right thoughts. Now when you understand the suffering and cause of suffering and its cessation and the path leading to its cessation, this is right understanding. Now you understand greed is a cause of suffering. When we have greed in our human mind, greed creates a lot of suffering for ourselves and a lot of suffering for the others. Motivated by greed, you might go to the extent to kill, steal, and do evil, wicked, immoral actions. We produce negative, destructive types of unwholesome karmic energy. They will bring suffering in return to us. And motivated by greed, when we do these evil actions, we create social sufferings to other human beings and fellow beings. So greed is a cause of suffering. So when you understand greed produces suffering, you produce a thought against greed. What are the thoughts against greed? Non-attachment, non-clinging, renunciation. All these thoughts can be put under one label as generosity. Thoughts of generosity. It is because you understand greed creates suffering. So having understood it, you give up the greed and instead replace the greed with good thought, which is generosity. You also understand hatred produces suffering. Today in this world, if you were to look at how things are going on, you can see hatred is everywhere. People, they are killing each other because of race, because of religion, because of many other denominations. They have divided themselves into groups and they are killing each other because of hatred. So if you understand hatred is a cause of suffering, you produce wholesome thoughts against hatred. Hatred has got two aspects. One aspect is ill will. The other aspect is cruelty. So when you understand ill will and cruelty produce suffering, Instead of ill will, you produce goodwill, wholesome thoughts. Instead of cruelty, you produce compassion. So friends, right understanding leads to right thoughts. These three right thoughts are the thoughts of generosity, thoughts of goodwill, and thoughts of compassion. So when your mind is full of these thoughts, then you move forward in the Noble Eightfold Path. What are the next factors? Thoughts are the roots of all our speech. So when you have right thoughts, you will have right speech. When you have right thoughts, you will have right actions. When you have right thoughts, you will have right livelihood. In this way, friends, our character undergo a transformation. Eventually, when we adopt meditation and cultivate diligently, we can uproot the cause root of the suffering, greed, hatred, and delusion, perfectly, permanently, and irreversibly. Then we will become enlightened human beings. So the process starts with right thoughts. But right thoughts comes from right understanding about the Four Noble Truths. So because of this, friends, our thoughts, they are more powerful than we assume. Our thoughts create our own world. Our thoughts create our own character. Our own thoughts build the life again after the death. And the Buddhism is all about transforming ourselves to become enlightened human beings that itself depend on wholesome thoughts. Then, Buddhism is a self-reliance teaching, do it yourself kind of teaching. So Buddha teach the way. So mind is the forerunner for everything. So we are the one who can create our hell or heaven, and we are the one who can transform ourselves and eventually become enlightened human beings. That all depend on our own thoughts. So because of that, the Buddha teach in Dhammapada, the verse 43, and that is the base for this topic today. Verses 43. Natang mata pita kaira anye va pichanyataka samma panihitang chittang seyo sonang tato kare. Neither mother, nor father, nor any other relatives can do what a well-directed, wholesome mind can do to a person, transforming him to become a superior type of human being. So friends, this much is enough as a talk. And if you have got any questions, we can spend some time for Q&A.
Thank you, Bhante, for the very enlightening talk on the importance of thoughts. So with that, do we have any questions for Bhante?
Dear Bhante, thank you for the enlightening talk. I wish to ask a question regarding the unwholesome thoughts. Sometimes when we have an unwholesome thought arise with us, we actually sometimes delight in having the unwholesome thought. It's like how we have a wound in our body. We sometimes delight in actually poking it, knowing that it's actually worsen the healing instead of fastening the healing. So how will you suggest for us to let go of unwholesome thought and develop a wholesome thought instead when it arises? Thank you.
Friends, there are a few ways that you can deal with it. When unwholesome thoughts arise in your mind, think of them as poisonous snakes. The poisonous snakes have arisen in my mind. If I allow them to grow bigger, and these poisonous snakes can harm me or harm others, if I let hatred, ill will, jealousy, anger, cruelty, or any such thoughts were to grow in my mind, I will do harm myself, I'll do harm to the others. So think of them as poisonous snakes. Or think of them as virus. Now these viruses have arisen in my mind. If I allow them to grow bigger and become stronger, they do harm to myself and they do harm to others. They will bring disease to me. And when I'm inflicted with greed, hatred, delusion, and other defilements, I become sick. So through my thoughts and words, actions, I might do harm to the others. So think of them as viruses. When evil, unwholesome thoughts arise in your mind again, look at them as sleeping volcano. At the moment, these evil thoughts are within me, but if they get arousing further and become stronger, possibility is there that they might erupt. When these unwholesome thoughts erupt, they come out from my mouth as unwholesome speech. They come out from my body as unwholesome actions. So when the volcano in eruption, the result will be the destruction. So think of the danger of the evil thoughts. This is one way that you can handle. Another way that you can handle is replace the evil thoughts with a good thought. If jealousy arises in your mind, replace it with appreciative joy. If hatred arises in your mind, replace it with loving kindness. If cruelty arises in your mind, replace it with opposite of compassion. If greed arises, then replace it with generosity. If selfishness arises, then replace it with selflessness. So in this way, try to replace the evil thought with the good thought. By training, you can do that. Another way that the Buddha teaches, when the evil thoughts arise in your mind, you examine them very carefully and analyze them, understand them, how they arise, what are the causes of these evil roots. When you analyze, when you scrutinize, and then they will fade away. Another technique that the Buddha teaches is, when you look at, or when certain sense stimulus come to your mind, if they produce evil, unwholesome thoughts, then you can choose not to look at them, not to hear them, not to sense them. So whatever the sense stimulus that trigger your hatred or defilements, whatever the sense stimulus become cause of your evil thoughts, then you can try to avoid it. Pay your attention to something else, for something wholesome. And finally the Buddha says, having done all these things, if still unwholesome thoughts arise, then sit somewhere in cross-leg and start practicing meditation. If you are a hateful person, then you must practice loving kindness meditations. And if you are a lustful person, then you must practice the unattractive nature of the body, so on and so forth. There are various types of meditation. In fact, our Venerable Panyavaro is a meditation master. So you can actually approach him and ask if anything. He's going to stay here today and he's leaving tomorrow. So if you have got anything personally, you can consult him as well. There are monks and nuns as well as lay teachers who can help you all. So you approach these teachers and learn from them. So friends, if you want to know more about this, and there's very interesting, beautiful discourse, Vitakka Santana Sutta, and dealing with the distracting thoughts. So you can read a little bit more about it.
Thank you, Bhante, for the inspiring talk. The 3 causes of suffering, greed, hatred, and delusion. You elaborated on greed and hatred. How do we counter delusion?
Right understanding. How to counteract delusion is the right understanding. Delusion is the cause root of all the sufferings. So when the Buddha talk about paticca samuppada or dependent origination, he starts with ignorance. Ignorance is the root cause of greed and hatred both. So how to end the ignorance is all about Buddhism. Buddha says, Andhakarena onadda padipanna gavissate. Being enwrapped in darkness, why don't you look for a light? So each and every human being, we are living in darkness, dense darkness of ignorance. So we are looking for the light. Light is the wisdom. So Buddhism is again a journey from ignorance to enlightenment. So how can you reduce your ignorance? Dedicating more time to understand the teachings of the Buddha, attending the talks, reading the books, analyzing them again and again, questioning, re-questioning, meditating, doing all these activities help you eventually to establish you in right understanding, in deeper and deeper and deeper level. So, Buddha recommend 3 things: Pariyatti, Patipatti, and Pativeda. Pariyatti here means understanding. Understanding the Dhamma. That is primary. And each and every one of you must try your best to understand the Dhamma. And take every opportunity. You are so blessed. In Singapore, you have got every opportunity to learn the Dhamma. But understanding must go along with practice. Theoretical understanding alone is not enough. With understanding, you must put yourself Dhamma into practice. Pariyatti and Patipatti. Understanding and practice go hand in hand for Pativeda, realization, to uproot of ignorance and related defilements. And then we will achieve the perfect bliss, which is enlightenment. So that is the Buddhist practice. From the right beginning to the end, Buddhism teach how to uproot ignorance.
Any more questions?
Thank you, Bhante. I got a question to ask in regards to the last thought. I always hear that the last thought before you die will determine your next destination or next life. So can a person who have done a lot of evils in the whole life and before he dies have a good or wholesome thought and will have a good rebirth and vice versa.
That's possible. But it does not mean his evil, unwholesome, karmic energy will be finished. Life is all about a journey of wholesome and unwholesome karmic energy. Both types of energies will go beyond the death. So if an evil person at last minute were to do a wholesome action and his mind become purified, and because of that purity and the merits that he acquired at last minute, provided he remembers all these and his last thought moment become wholesome, he will be born in a positive realm. Can be as a human being or any other wholesome type of realm. But it does not mean his unwholesome karmic energy is finished from there. And unwholesome karmic energy is also waiting for the opportunity to give rise, to give reactions. So that is why sometimes some human beings, they are fortunate to be born as human beings because of their past good karma, but they also have done a lot of unwholesome karmic energy. So some of the human beings, from the day when they are born, they are suffering from various kind of diseases, and they are undergoing various kind of miseries, and throughout their life they experience nothing but suffering. So at the last minute, and that human being perhaps have done some merits and be born as a human being, but his negative, unwholesome karmic energy is also following, so giving the result. In the same way, perhaps maybe someone who did a lot of wholesome actions, practiced generosity, and at the moment of the death, perhaps maybe were to do something evil, wicked, immoral, or were to produce a lot of unwholesome thoughts. As a result, that person were to be born in a negative realm. But even though that person were to be born in a negative realm, his merits also follow and will give the due results. So there are dogs who experience bliss and happiness than human beings. They travel in Mercedes cars, and they are shampooed and showered on time and given medicines. And there are human beings who spend a lot of money on dogs, correct? So, but in Buddhism, we believe that to be born as a dog is a negative karma. But remember, they also have merits. So there are so karma is not a simple theory, and 1 + 1 is 2, not something like that. It's a little bit more complicated kind of teaching. To fully understand the karma and its reactions is possible only for Supreme Buddha. And for us, it's still we can understand the karma theoretically, and we can use our logic and understanding and our common sense. Then we still can understand the karma to a great extent.
Okay, one last question before time's.
Hi, Bante. Thanks for the Dhamma talk. I would like to ask about the perception. What was the right Buddhist to perceive the phenomena? For example, like look at the flower or the person. Normally we have like discursive thought, or we have our judgment and so on. And can you tell us, like, we related to the non-self, right? Some people say to drop your eye and so on.
Right perception is looking at the world from perception of anicca. Anicca sanya, anatta sanya, asubha sanya. These are some Pali words. Looking at things as they really are. So, the world is always changing. So when you were to look at anything through your eye, were to hear anything through your ear, And through your five sense faculties, when you come across outside world, you understand this body itself is changing. Five sense faculties themselves are changing. Whatever we come across from five sense faculties, they are also changing. Based on five sense faculties, whatever objects we come across, and then arise in our mind, feelings, they are changing. Perceptions, they are changing. Mental formations, they are changing. Consciousness, they are changing. So, there's nothing which does not change. Everything is subject to change and disappear. So, looking at the things with these perceptions of changing, that is right perception. Again, as human beings, we are connected, compounded forces and energies that the Buddha defined as five aggregates of clinging. They are nothing but forces and energies. Other than the five aggregates of clinging, there is nothing solid which does not undergo any kind of changes, like soul. So only five aggregates of clinging exist. Other than five aggregates of clinging, there is nothing else within this body or mind or outside of the body and mind. So anatta sanya, look at it as pure energies. Don't solidify it as I, me, my, and mine. So this is right perceptions looking at the world. And again, we look at the world and always grab the world, cling to the world because of perceiving things as pleasant, as objects that can bring suffering. But you have to understand, any kind of clinging leads to suffering. All the types of clinging, whether we cling to pleasurable objects or unpleasurable objects, they all produce clinging, they all produce suffering at the end. So when favorable light, sound, smells, touch, sensation come into your range, and understand that they are subject to change and disappear, and if you were to cling them, and eventually they will produce suffering. So asubha sanya, look at it in that right way. So that is the right perceptions again. Of course, this is theoretical explanation. To do it rightly, you must practice it, like I say, every moment. And when you practice it in that way, that itself become form of meditation. So in intensive meditations, you can practice these subjects deeper and deeper, and eventually you can uproot the defilements perfectly, permanently, and then you are free from all these attachment, and then you will have right perception in deeper sense.
Thank you, Bhante. May I request that we be in Anjali position and pay 3 respects to the Bhante?
So friends, let's put our palms together to share the merits. May the good devas, virtuous devas, rejoice over these merits. Having shared these merits, may the devas protect you, protect your loved ones, protect the dispensation of the Buddha. May the devas attain bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu. Our departed relatives and friends, wherever they are, may they all share these merits. Having shared these merits, may they be free from worries and sufferings. Be well, be happy. May all our departed loved ones attain bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu. May the great blessings of the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha be upon all of you. May all of your good wishes, good dreams come true. May there be peace and happiness in your life. May the merits be helpful to refrain from the evil, to cultivate the good, to follow the noble path of the Buddha and attain bliss of Nibbana.
Let's pay 3 respects. Please remain in Anjali while we invite the Bhantes out for their meal.